No, I was just.
To call the Public Transportation Advisory Committee meeting to order. I'm Tom Riley, Pioneer Center.
Nick Hammonds, Deputy City Manager for Crystal Lake.
Sarah Schrempf, Senior Care Volunteer Network.
Virginia Peschke from Continuum to End Homelessness.
Scott Hennings, I'm the Assistant Director here at McHenry County DOT.
Jasmine Vega, Transportation Planner with the DOT.
And we usually do the audience too because it's so fast.
Ed Gallagher, I'm the Community Relations Representative with Pace Suburban Bus.
Hi, I'm Gary Scott. I'm the PACE Project Manager doing paratransit for McHenry County, but I also do Lake, the regional call center, which does Lake, McHenry, and North Cook County, and then I work on like the MOS integration with TransDep.
Kevin Kowarski, McHenry County DOT GIS Specialist.
Bianca Diaz, Mobility Outreach Coordinator with the RTA.
Mia Kramer, I'm a Transportation Coordinator with Senior Care Volunteer Network.
Tracy Weston, I'm the Transportation Manager for Independence Health and Therapy.
Lori Parrish, Director of Programs with Independence Health and Therapy.
Joe Karpolsky, I'm the Director of Transportation County Engineer for County.
Welcome.
Lucas in the corner as well.
Oh, sorry.
Luca Battiche is my name. Urban Planning Intern for DOT. That's it.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We've done introductions, minutes approval. Is there we need a motion also?
I have a couple of corrections. I'll move approval with the corrections.
All right, and the corrections are?
It says that Kim Hankins and I were not there. It's up members absent, and then we're both cited in the minutes. Right under that, you see in the minutes approval, Kim was a seconder, and then I think I moved to adjourn at the end. So we were.
Oh, it says we're all absent.
We were
I wonder if they should say members present.
Yeah.
They probably should say members present.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
So we were both there.
And that, all right. So we'll change it to members present.
I vote to approve with the changes.
All right, and I'll second. Anyone opposed? Look like it. Okay. And then public comment. Hold on, reading. Sorry, I'm reading the previous one. Did anyone sign up? Check it.
Do we have a sign-in sheet over there?
Yeah.
Nobody signed up, Tom, but if anyone offers the room just in case.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a public comment or?
Sure, I will just, to reintroduce ourselves, Lori Parrish and Tracy Weston with Independence Health and Therapy, and you're probably familiar that we have, we're not-for-profit in the county, and we serve an adult day health and memory care program. We have a behavioral health counseling and psychiatry, and then we have a therapies clinic, occupational speech, and physical therapies. And Tracy has been here before to the meetings, and you may know that we have a fleet. We have a transportation fleet, and we provide rides to our clients depending on the needs, particularly for the day room. And we also partner with others in the county. We have a partnership with the specialty courts right now to, we have a route that goes around the county and gets people to the courthouse for their appointments when they don't have transportation. And we're always looking to partner and collaborate with others because we know that transportation is always in this county. So we're happy to be back and just listening and participating, and always open to collaborating whenever the need arises. So thank you for having us.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Old business. We have the McRide program update.
Yeah. So just a quick update on ridership for MC Ride for the months of May and June. McHenry County College had a total of 349 trips for those 2 months. For 5310 eligible trips, so those are individuals who have a disability or are over the age of 60. Of the 14,458 trips between those 2 months, 11,000 and about 980 were 5310 eligible trips. Other than that, at our next PTAC meeting, we'll have much more substantial data since that'll account for the months of July, August, September, and October. So more updates to come at our next meeting.
Then service partner updates, I think Ed and Gary, you guys are up.
The RTA is first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Should I stand?
You can come up to
You
the
don't
table.
have-
We don't bite. You can come up to
Usually there's the podium.
Oh, sorry.
Good morning, afternoon. Just a couple of updates from the RTA. Yesterday was the latest Transit is the Answer Coalition meeting. So if you haven't ever attended one of the coalition meetings, I strongly encourage and invite you to. They are quarterly, so this was the 5th meeting, and the subject for this meeting was following the introduction of the legislation that proposes changes to how the Chicago Region's transit agencies are organized. The RTA continues to lead conversations about the future of transit funding and governance with the service board, state legislators, and the public. So the subject of yesterday's meeting was regarding potential reforms to improve service and accountability for riders. So like I said, I strongly encourage you to attend if you haven't, and if you're wondering how do I attend, how do I stay informed, you can subscribe to the RTA Transit Update newsletter, so you can find that very easily by just going to our website. Another update here is regarding the Senate Transportation Committee hearings. I know we're going to be talking about that later on the agenda today, but in case you weren't aware, to highlight the value of transit and gather input on funding and reform ideas, Senate Transportation Committee Chair Senator Ram Villavalam scheduled a series of 6 subject matter hearings to be held over the summer to continue the conversation about the future of public transit in the Chicago region. So the first 2 hearings occurred on July 9th and July 24th, and it included testimony from RTA Board Chairman Kirk Dillard, RTA Executive Director Leanne Redden, CTA President Dorville Carter Jr., Metro CEO Jim Derwinski, and PACE Executive Director Melinda Metzger. There are more hearings that are going to be taking place. I believe the one for McHenry County, that one's coming up actually. So Thursday, August 8th will be for the counties of DuPage, Will, and Kendall. But Wednesday, August 28th at 10 a.m., those hearings will be for McHenry County and Kane County. And you can either attend these hearings or you can watch them live by visiting ilga.gov. Under the Senate section, you'll be able to stream it, or you can go in person as well. In case you weren't aware, the Democratic National Convention is approaching very quickly, August 19th through the 22nd at the United Center and McCormick Place. If you're wondering, the RTA has published a guide on how to navigate the Democratic National Convention using public transportation, and that can be found online by visiting rtachicago.org/blog. And also just from our department in general, we've been working very closely with Scott and Jasmine in promoting the new MC Ride Connect program. I think that has sparked a lot of interest in RTA programs like signing up for Ride Free Reduced Fare. We were at an event yesterday at the Woodstock Library. I think I processed like over 10 applications, so lots of great stuff with that. And that's it from the RTA. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're heading Gary.
So, got some great news. So first, a ridership update. The 2024 ridership trends continue to be positive. Starting from early this year, in March and April, our average daily ridership has continued to grow. In March of 2024, Pace saw a 15.2% higher ridership than March 2023. Overall, our system carried just over 1.8 million riders in March of 2024. In April, Pace hit a post-pandemic high of 78% to our April 2019 levels. That was 78,000 riders per weekday. We didn't rest on our laurels. In May, we surpassed that previous post-pandemic high and set a new post-pandemic high of reaching 80% of our 2019 levels in May. We averaged a 17.9% higher than the year prior, but that rose to 81,000 riders per weekday, which came to 80% of our 2019 average daily ridership for our entire system here in Northern Illinois. The ADA paratransit service also continued to have great returns of ridership. We are now officially over 100% of our 2019 levels. We have hit 105% of 2019 levels. And that was for our May ridership. Second, Ventra prepayment is now available on the coordinated service. Gary is showing off one of the handouts that I gave to all of the board members as well as to the general members in attendance today. As of June 17th, 2024, riders on both Dial-A-Ride and coordinated projects can now pay using Ventra at the time of booking. Pace-operated Dial-A-Rides and coordinated projects such as the MC Ride, Ride Lake, Ride and Cane, Ride DuPage, and Will Ride will now have the option of using Ventra during the booking process. Non-ADA riders can register with TripCheck and enter their Ventra card information into that TripCheck account. That brochure, or that show-off, the printout that Gary showed, has the step-by-step guide showing you the screens in your TripCheck account of how you go about attaching the Ventra card. Please note that the fare is deducted now if you choose to use your Ventra card at the time of booking. All funds must be available on your Ventra card when you make the call to book. Our call staff will then immediately charge you for that ride, and it will go down in the driver's information that you are a prepaid rider. Please encourage Pace encourages all of our non-ADA riders to now sign up for Pace TripCheck and use Ventra when paying for their trips. And then staff, I've shared the training document. Second, TripCheck is now in app form. So Pace TripCheck has been on a computer-based system. It is now a mobile-based app that individuals can download. It is called Pace TripCheck in your Apple App Stores and your Google Play Stores, and if Android has their own, it's also in that store. This new TripCheck app provides riders the ability to access information of their trips. They can view their trip information, so their upcoming trips. They can cancel trips. They can review travel alerts, specifically regarding weather, or if there's heat advisories. Our team sends out lots of updates regarding weather, so you can get those now through the TripCheck app. That is now available, as I mentioned, in your app stores. Otherwise, you can go to pace.com/TripCheck. Third is our Regional Day Pass pilot program. This one's exciting. At the Pace Board of Directors meeting in June, we don't have one for July, so in June, the board approved an innovative Regional Day Pass pilot program reflecting Pace's ongoing commitment to enhancing passenger convenience and adapting to the evolving transit needs. The Regional Day Pass, anticipated to launch later this year, will provide unlimited riders on Pace, Metra, and CTA for a single day at a fixed rate. This pilot program aims to make public transit more accessible, more affordable, and encouraging increased ridership across our region, across all the service boards. This will create an integrated day pass that would allow unlimited rides on all three of the transit systems for a calendar day of purchase. The Pass pilot is expected to be launched obviously later this year via the Ventra app. So if you don't have the Ventra app, get the Ventra app so then when the Pass launches you can download it and purchase it. The vendor's currently working on that. The agreement that the board approved sets the pricing parameters for the day pass for unlimited rides on both CTA, Pace, and Metra based on select fare zones of Metra. So you'll get CTA and Pace rides, and then the payment range is based on the amount that the Metra fare zones that you're entering. The range is between $10 and $16. There is one system-wide price on weekends will all be a $10 ride pass. Riders will be able to purchase this through their Ventra app, And we'll be updating other day passes to match these prices. The fare revenue will be distributed by the RTA to the Metro, Pace, and CTA, and we'll be utilizing some of their funding to help offset any losses to either entity through this cost structure. I do have a nice little graphic that I'll share with Jasmine so she can share around, but there's a nice little graphic so you can kind of see what the current price structure is versus what the future price structure will be with the one-day pass. So you can compare what's kind of best for you, what's best for your clientele, but ultimately a one cost purchase pass for all three systems will be greater for everyone overall. Last, Pace continues to actively focus on hiring for our mechanics, our operators in all facilities across the suburbs, including our closest one here in Elgin. We continue to look for recruitment opportunities, so if any of your agencies, any of your cities have recruitment opportunities, job fairs, please feel free to share them with me. We would love to be there. And then I'll hand it off to Gary.
Thanks, Ed. It's always fun tag teaming these. So we've been super busy at Pace, especially in paratransit. We've been working on increasing ridership and capacity for McHenry County DOT for the MC Ride program, just to keep using that budget up, increasing those trips. I think we started doing that in beginning of summer, I think, or so. So our standards are high at Pace, and that's coming through with our on-time percentage for the MC Ride program. I think we're in the upper 90s almost all the time. Complaints are at a minimum. That being said, if you ever need to complain about Pace or you want to give feedback on your ride, you can always call our customer relations number at 800-606-1282, option 2, or you can email our customer relations email address at passenger.services@pacebus.com. It's a great way just to, you can get feedback, you can, if you have a negative experience or a positive experience and want to put an accommodation, it's a great way to acknowledge those thoughts. We are still sanitizing our vehicles daily, just with sickness all around, and we still wash our vehicles at least twice a week, making sure that the insides and outsides look nice and are clean. We are also working to get ready to launch the well-awaited MC Ride Connect program, and it looks like we'll talk about that a little bit later, so I won't steal the thunder on that. And for those who don't know me, my email address is gary.scott@pacebus.com. You can email me anytime, and I'll give you my direct line as well, and you can call me anytime. Answering in the middle of the night is always, you always get a different version of me, but I will answer. 312-341-8067. So, and I'm always glad to talk to different folks and work with Ed closely on happenings or ideas.
Okay, thank you.
I got a couple questions for this final.
Okay.
I'm not gonna let you guys off that easy.
All right, sounds good.
First for Gary, electrification of the McHenry garage. As far as electric paratransit vehicles, what progress has Pace made transitioning our MC Ride fleet over to electric? I know there was an award from a legislator for one paratransit bus. That was in the River Division, right? I guess what movement, if any, have you guys made on electrifying the MC Ride fleet?
I'm going to defer to Ed.
Yeah, that's fine. So yes, you're correct.
Just because I know I get questions about this.
No, it's a great question, and it's something that we're on top of. So Pace's Project Zero commitment is to reach fully zero emission vehicles by 2040. You are correct. We did purchase our very first electric paratransit vehicle earlier this year. We took delivery, I believe it was in late January, early February. That is to be stationed out of the Elgin Division once it's finished its training, or its testing, I'll say. So our team is putting it through a lot of tests to determine battery capacity, proper charging techniques, and make sure that we have the operational items ironed out before it goes into service, but that will be in service in Elgin. We did also receive a federal grant, which I must say thank you to Congressman Foster. We did receive a federal grant from Congressman Foster's office with an earmark to purchase 5 battery electric paratransit vehicles here for McHenry. So that would be direct investment into electrification here in McHenry via that earmark. It's actually no longer called earmark, though it's now called a
Congressionally directed spending.
yeah, congressional directed spending or community funded project. But so we are, in the process of analyzing kind of the steps we have to take with the federal government to get that up and running. But I have not heard if we've put in an order yet.
Okay.
But when we have more information on that, I can share that. But we are making great strides towards testing and incorporating battery electric vehicles into our fleet here in McHenry.
Good, and I know it's one thing to get money for a vehicle, but it's another thing to upgrade the charging facilities and the McHenry garage. I'm sure there needs to be a lot of retrofitting that would go into accommodating a paratransit vehicle. So any updates you guys have at future meetings, just make sure you bring it to this group.
Sure. We did, last thing on that, you mentioned the infrastructure for the garages. So our board of directors did adopt a facilities transition plan. It's a multi-page document that kind of outlines kind of cost structure as well as the operational needs of transitioning all of our current garages. So I have not reviewed specifically the McHenry portion of that, but I know that we took a look at all of our facilities, and it's going to take upwards of millions, if not billions, of dollars to do that. So I would refer to that document. I can share that with you as well.
And I think I know the answer, but the River Division electric vehicle, any chance that could be put on the 550 route to get up to Crystal Lake?
So the River Division vehicle is a paratransit
Oh, it
vehicle.
is.
So it was not, that was a paratransit vehicle. So that will most likely be working with ADA. So if we have ADA riders in the southern portion or McHenry or northern portion of Kane, we could see it on the street. Again, that's still just in testing, but the 5 vehicles from Congressman Foster's office will be prioritized to the McHenry garage.
Okay. My last question for these guys. I was on the RTA call yesterday where there was talk about reimagining the fare systems to make it more streamlined across the 3 service boards.
Mm-hmm.
The Universal Pass is a great first step, especially for like tourists. I could see when I go to a new city, I don't want to have to buy 3 different transit passes. I just want one pass to get anywhere. So that's a really good first start. But one comment I made during the RTA meeting was, it's one thing to think about a PACE Metro CTA fare structure that was consolidated, but it's not going to impact MC Ride's fare structure, or Ride in Kane, or Ride DuPage, or Ride Lake County. All of those dial-a-ride programs have their own fare structure that's completely different from your fare structure. So I challenged the RTA to think bigger beyond just the three fare systems that everybody knows, but also incorporate the dial-a-ride programs into whatever fare system is ultimately decided upon. And I just made the comment that McHenry County would be more than willing to change our fare structure on our system to make it more in line with what you're doing at the regional level across the 3 service boards. I can't speak to the other counties, but it would be, ultimately, I would love to see a universal dial-a-ride fare structure across the entire region. So whether I'm in Will County, Kane County, McHenry, if I get a dial-a-ride, I know exactly how much it's going to cost, and that the system's the same across all of those. I know that's bigger than the 2 of you, but I just wanted to throw that out there for you to hear, and Bianca, because the RTA is obviously interested in this topic, and I think it's something this group can maybe push a little bit on our end too. So just wanted to mention that. Not a question, but more just a statement.
Sure. Appreciate that, Scott, and we can definitely take that in and just discuss it.
Yeah, I will say it is actually, so better coordination between our dial-a-rides is part of our driving innovation plan, long-term. I haven't reviewed the plan this year, but I gave a presentation to PTAC, I believe it was last year, on the status of that driving innovation plan. So better coordination between all of our dial-a-rides is part of that. It's just a little bit further down on the pecking order versus our electrification push, our incorporating greater technology and others. So I appreciate your feedback.
Can I add to that just super quick, my 2 cents, if you will? So the MC Ride, the Dial-A-Ride, is really pretty easy for most people to use too. And so when you start incorporating these transfers and, hey, they need to get from here to here and here, the fare is just one part of it. So there's also the inconvenience or the confusion that might come, especially with an older population.
Sure.
In being able to navigate that second component beyond the fare. So, people get used to, especially in McHenry County, they get used to using like the Dial-A-Ride service. They're not as familiar with those other services that are closer into the more urban areas. And a lot of them don't necessarily go from one county to another county very easily without doing some kind of transfer. So that might also, I would think, potentially expand, county to county kind of crossover stuff. So
There'd have to be a lot of communication between county folks, like McHenry County DOT would need to speak to Lake County DOT or King County DOT, and kind of.
No, that's an ongoing challenge. Yeah.
It is, and it's the frustrating, I guess that's the word to use, part of this is because the counties are in charge of these Dial-A-Ride programs by and large, and PACE takes a very hands-off approach to how they're structured, it makes coordinating very difficult because there is no regional entity that's looking at all these Dial-A-Ride programs saying, how can you all work together? Really, it's all of us as planners that need to work with our planners in other parts of the region to take it upon ourselves to do that coordinating. But even if we had agreement among Lake and McHenry to do something similar, there's no way that Will, Kane, DuPage, we're all going to be on the same page. It's just too many people to kind of bring together unless there is a regional body, whether it's PACE or the RTA, to sort of step in and say, listen, there's going to be winners and losers to these changes, but here for the better part of the region, we're going to all kind of come together and make some kind of a regional Dial-A-Ride system. So I just want to challenge, I guess, the RTA and PACE to think bigger, to think beyond the fixed routes and the train services that are out there. And, Dial-A-Ride is really all people know out here as far as bus service. Like, to be perfectly blunt, that's the 800-pound gorilla in McHenry County. So if you don't change the fare structure of Dial-A-Ride, you're not changing things for most people out here when it comes to transit. So any solution needs to take that into account.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Scott.
New business, MC Ride Connect program update.
Yes. So the DOT began accepting enrollment forms for MC Ride Connect on June 19th. Since then, we've had about 65 individuals who've submitted an enrollment form. Of those 65, about 55 have actually been eligible for the program. The few that have been denied enrollment from the program have, it's been due to either not being a county resident, not having a current active RTA permit ID, so it may have expired, or they provided an invalid ID number. So there's been a bit of confusion in having a venture card and having an RTA, any type of permit card from them. But we're working with those who have been denied, who might be eligible, just to get them connected to RTA. We are experiencing a delay in our service. So to our knowledge, we're currently waiting on Uber to get clients enrolled and actually allow enrollees to use the subsidy. Today, we just notified everyone who's been approved that they're going to experience another delay, but that Uber will be, if they chose Uber as their TNC, that they'll receive an email from Uber letting them know that their subsidy is ready to be used, and with further instructions. I don't know if PACE has if you wanted to add anything to that.
Sure. I could just say that operationally, like the dashboard and things are ready to go for the user side subsidy MC Ride Connect program. We are just finalizing an amendment with Uber to get it in place. So we're hoping that's in place by next week.
Also, some of our DOT staff, Luca and Chris, put together a slideshow that provides step-by-step instructions of how MC Ride Connect works. We'll watch that together, and we'll have that posted on our MC Ride Connect website. We'll let.
And before you hit go, so I think this is really important because even though Jasmine and I, and probably Gary, think that this is pretty intuitive, pretty easy to understand, we've had a lot of questions trying to clarify, how do I get signed up? How does this thing work? A lot of folks don't even know what Uber is. And so I'm glad our staff kind of took the time to make a very easy to understand explainer for people to sort of learn about the program. So we're hopeful anything you guys can do to push traffic to this would be greatly appreciated.
Just a warning, the sound might not work on the first try.
Welcome to our
There we go.
presentation on MC Ride Connect, McHenry County's new on-demand user-side subsidy program, using transportation network companies like Uber and UServe to provide an affordable transportation option for eligible residents in McHenry County. Today, we'll cover 4 main topics. 1. What is MC Ride Connect? 2. Who can use it? 3. Where can I use it? And 4. How to contact us for more information. MC Ride Connect is an exciting new on-demand user-side subsidy program. It partners with transportation network companies like Uber and UServe to offer an affordable transportation option for eligible residents of McHenry County. MC Ride Connect is available to any McHenry County resident with an RTA, ride-free, or reduced fare permit. Simply pay the first $4 for any Uber or UServe trip within the county, and the county will cover up to $20 of any additional trip costs. To use MC Ride Connect, you must 1. Have an RTA reduced fare or ride-free permit card. 2. Have an Uber and or UServe account with a payment card attached. 3. Be a McHenry County resident. To obtain an RTA reduced fare permit, you must either have a disability or be over the age of 65. Those enrolled in the State of Illinois' Benefit Access Program, or BAP, administered by the Illinois Department on Aging, are eligible for an RTA ride-free permit. For more information, head to www.rtahchicago.org/riders/free-and-reduced-fare-programs. Trips using MC Ride Connect must either start or end in McHenry County or both. You can use MC Ride Connect to travel to or from anywhere within the RTA service area, which includes McHenry, Lake, Cook, including the city of Chicago, Kane, DuPage, and Will counties. Here are maps of McHenry County and the broader Chicagoland area, highlighting where you can travel using MC Ride Connect. For any questions, please contact Jasmine Vega at 815-334-4981 or via email.
That's all you get.
That was close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough.
You get the idea.
So if anybody wants to link to this on your web pages, we'd be happy to share the link. The more we get the word out there without having people call Jasmine, that frees her up to do more important things as well. So, I thought that was really, really good.
Can I ask a question? So if someone's not already got the RTA ride fare, they're not through that hoop, and then or the reduced fare permit, so do they have to go through the IDOA first to that's the first step, is to get that permit or that free ride piece? Okay.
Yeah, so when they enroll in MC Ride Connect, we do require the ID number that's attached to their permit card. So that would be the first step if they don't already have it.
Okay. And they should probably already be part of the benefit access program by the time they get to you.
If you don't mind me interjecting. So the difference between the ride-free and reduced fare permits, two different things. Reduced fare, you don't need to go through the Department of Aging. It's just having a doctor's note or some way of proving that you're over the relevant age to the RTA. You only need to go through the Department of Aging for the ride-free permit, which is, instead of a discount, it's ride-free, right? So if it is too much for somebody to go through the DOA, they can always just use the reduced fare.
And I would speculate, Bianca, that most people have the reduced fare card, right? That's probably the larger group than the ride-free, right?
Yeah, just because it's a lot simpler to just apply for the reduced fare, because whether you're a first-time applicant or, if you're a first-time applicant, it's always going to be a two-step process. So just getting your ride-free card is going to take maybe like a month or so. But if you're someone that had already previously enrolled for that license plate sticker program, then you're good to go. You can submit a ride-free application. But I do want to mention that this year our applications were simplified so that people with disabilities can access a reduced fare card a lot easier now. Previously, it was either like a licensed medical professional that could provide proof of disability or some type of like official documentation like through SSI. And now teachers can fill out the professional verification form for people, or even case managers, maybe someone that they see on a regular basis at like a day program, a day center. We really got rid of that like licensed professional number on the application. They can simply even check off on other and write what kind of relationship they have to the individual and just write the type of disability they have. So it has become a lot easier now. So if someone were interested in the MC Ride Connect program and they didn't have an RTA card, the process is not as daunting as before.
And you can sign up online, you can sign up directly with Bianca, or you can go to Senior Services Associates in Crystal Lake, McHenry, or go to Nunda Township, and they'll help you walk through the process of signing up. So there's so many resources available. I tell anybody I talk to, get registered, because even if you only ride transit once a year, it's just good to be in the system, you're registered in case you need it. So.
Isn't there one more group of eligible riders who can use MC Ride Connect, the paratransit ADA eligible?
Yeah, so ADA riders, they technically would be eligible for this program. They're also eligible for the PACE Rideshare Access Program. And why don't you remind the group, Gary, Rideshare Access, what the sort of benefit of doing that program? Because you can only sign up for one or the other. We've told people that if you're ADA paratransit certified, you're going to have to make a choice whether you want to sign up for PACE's Rideshare Access Program, which is a region-wide service, or you can sign up for this MC Ride Connect program, which is just relevant in McHenry County. So and maybe this is a mistaken assumption, Jasmine and I are kind of assuming most people are going to sign up for the PACE Rideshare Access Program if they're ADA paratransit certified. But why don't you kind of go over sort of how that program works for the group too?
Sure. So the Rideshare Access Program RAP is for ADA paratransit eligible riders throughout the 6-county region. I believe it's a $2 fare up to $30 ride. We subsidize $28 for up to 8 trips a day. And trips just have to originate and end within the ADA service area. It's a great way for riders who are tech savvy to get trips using Uber or Userve. Additionally, there is an option where you can call a phone number for Uber that will help you book your ride. I believe you still have to have access to the app on your phone as well. But it's definitely been growing a lot. I'm sure Ed could speak to it a little bit regarding some of the increases from ridership that we've had, or the increases in the use of this user side subsidy program since its launch. but it's a really nice extra benefit to do. The one thing is, if you're in the city of Chicago, you can either have the rideshare access program or the taxi access program. You can't have both. So, and both programs are pretty similar. Ed, I don't know if you want to add anything on to that.
I'll just add a couple little things. So there is a misnomer that there isn't ADA service in McHenry County. I'm glad to report there is. And under RAP, the ADA service area, which is 3/4 of a mile of any fixed route, RAP doesn't have a time limit. So ADA follows the times of our fixed route. So if a route is running in the morning, that's when ADA is available. If the route is only running in the evening, that's when ADA is available. RAP would be available, on the days that in the middle of the day, the times that maybe the bus isn't regularly running, but it is contingent on the private company. So when you're opting into rideshare access program, it's up to Uber, it's up to UServe to have drivers and vehicles available in your area. So there's never a guarantee of trips. It's just you get the opportunity to have that user side subsidy that works like a gift card almost, but you can use that in the areas of our ADA service area, which includes the county building, the courthouse. It's got MCCs within the region, our Harvard Metro Station, Crystal Lake Metro Station, Woodstock Metro Station, and then 3/4 of a mile on either side, north, south, east, west, of all of our fixed routes that move through the community. So there is a good portion of ADA service in the populated areas here in McHenry. And individuals can access that RAP program if they can get to that region. So if a family member can just drop them, if they live a little bit outside of town, a family member can drop them at the metro station. They can quickly load an Uber, load their app, access their RAP benefit, and then they're on their way utilizing that $30, up to $30 of transit value for that $2 fare.
And if their trip is more than $30, then the rider is responsible for paying that difference.
And the app is very user-friendly. It shows you before you hit book that your cost is proposed to be over that level, so you would know before you hit book that you're looking at maybe a $5, $10, or whatever that increase could be. But users would have the ability to make the choice. So maybe they don't want to go as far. Maybe they'll just go to the block before and maybe walk a little bit, or make a different travel choice based on that fare.
And that's important. So the reason Jasmine and I are assuming ADA riders are going to ride that program instead of ours is because under their program, the rider pays a $2 fare. Under ours, they pay a $4 fare. So it's twice as expensive, and they can't travel as far with the subsidy under our program. Because we give people up to $16 a trip, they give up to $28 per trip. So if you're ADA, you can ride up with us, but I think most people would prefer to ride with the RAP program instead. So yeah, that's why we don't really talk about it as much as we probably should.
So, but the ADA program is based off of a distance from the fixed route,
Correct.
whereas the MC Connect program could be more door to door. Am I hearing that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So that might be appealing to some people and worth $2.
Yeah. That is a good point.
Yeah.
I would say destination versus, living location or address, could be factors in which program they see as best. But the ultimate is that both of these programs are options, additional options for individuals to have access to additional transportation.
And I will say, to go through the ADA certification process, it's not that onerous, but there is more work involved to become ADA paratransit certified. So even those that maybe could qualify for ADA, a lot of folks just choose not to do it because it's just more hurdles to jump through than just getting an RTA reduced fare or ride free card. So yeah, that's just another factor in all of this as well.
Well, I'm sorry, one more thing. Because you're outsourcing sort of so the Ubers and the Lyfts and stuff, so, they're also not, it seems the ADA component and ADA compliant vehicles seems sort of counterintuitive.
So I will say that, I believe that we have stressed with them the requirements for our program. Now, our ADA service has ADA vehicles, accessible vehicles. We have alternative contractors that we would divert with an ADA accessible vehicle. If they're opting into either Uber or UServe, they are accepting the potential that the vehicles that would be available might not be ADA accessible. I would say that, there are two options, so they can choose between Uber or UServe. UServe is known as the Accessible Transportation Network Company, but, it's a user choice. So, and if they pick a choice, they don't like that choice, maybe Ubers aren't as prevalent in their area, or, they're not having a good service, experience with that, they can call our team to potentially get shifted over to the other program to try the other TNC. So we are working with the riders, if they want to opt out of one into the other.
And there are a whole lot of disabilities, as you know, Sarah. So just because someone is ADA Paratrans certified doesn't mean they need a wheelchair accessible vehicle, right? It could be a lot of different things that they're able to use a typical sedan that some Uber driver has, but they're still ADA Paratrans. Yes. All right, thanks, guys. We look forward the next meeting. We look forward to a great update on how this program is operating. The number of rides we've given.
You got it.
I'm looking forward to that. So
And I'll be back.
The Metropolitan Mobility Authority Act, is that Scott?
He's going to give us an update on the first hearing.
I guess I'll stay up.
yeah, or you can come up to the table if you want. Easier to explain.
So I believe that the MMA Act was discussed at the last PTAC meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so just to provide a brief overview, the Illinois State Legislature is currently proposing a piece of legislation that would combine the 3 service boards that operate public transit in the Chicago area, plus the RTA, so 4 organizations total, RTA, CTA, Metra, and PACE, into one single agency. So that is a piece of legislative action that's still being contemplated at the state level. So there was a Senate hearing with the State Senate Transportation Committee, I believe it's called.
Yep.
And that was held downtown at the Cook County building. And there were several attendees there from various agencies that would be affected by the proposal. The leaders of CTA, Metra, PACE, and the RTA were in attendance, as well as a number of figures from advocacy groups, members of the public, as well as transit operators themselves. To provide a brief overview of the general feeling of the meeting, the service board chairmen and chairwomen were opposed to the notion of this merger. They felt that it would take away local control of transit in their respective jurisdictions. So that there was pretty unified opposition from all 3 service board chairs to this bill. The RTA presented a more muted response, saying that they would prefer a setup in which the RTA got greater control over the 3 boards rather than an overall merger. There were several public comments heard. Many of them stressed the importance of facing the fiscal cliff that our transit agencies are facing in 2026 and the associated service cuts that would be required to take effect if our region's transit system wasn't fully funded at that point. There were also several advocacy groups there, most of whom spoke in favor of the bill consolidating the agencies. Overall, there was some fairly divided opinion from several different sections of the public and industry. Is there anything you'd like to add, Jasmine?
I think that was a good overview.
Thanks.
Yeah, we were lucky to have Luca and Jasmine actually go to that hearing. I forget, Bianca, I think, mentioned that there's one coming up at the end of this month, August 28th at 10 a.m. at Elgin Community College. It would be great to see a bunch of people that are part of this committee go to that hearing, even if you don't say anything, just to sort of listen to the discussion, the debate. This is a very timely issue, right? So they're talking about any type of legislation likely coming forward in the spring session in 2025. So it's gonna be on us very soon, whatever solution they come up with. whether it's the consolidation approach or just maybe a strengthened RTA, as well as whatever funding package they can muster for regional transit. So just know that the county, we will be there. Jasmine and I are going to go to the 28th, as well as Luca. And if there's anything this group wants us to sort of communicate via maybe our chairman, who's probably going to provide remarks, we would love to sort of get this group's perspective too when it comes to talking about transit in McHenry County. And that is really what this group wants. They want to hear locally, because they know, I mean, Senate Transportation Committee, they know what goes on in their district, right, individually, which often is in the city of Chicago, and they kind of know how transit works in the city, but a lot of them don't know what we have to deal with out in the suburbs when it comes to public transit. Senator DeWitt and Senator Wilcox are on this committee, so they have a unique perspective, I think, that they can see sort of what's happening locally, but any other input you want to give us, I think we'd love to hear. Virginia, you were going to say something.
Say again the time and place.
It's August 28th. It's a Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. And we've heard, I don't know if it's public yet, Bianca, but we've heard Elgin Community College is where it's going to be posted at.
So, can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
So yeah, if that is an issue that you were interested in participating in or hearing more about, I think it's worth noting that this legislative action is pretty contentious, and there are a lot of voices on both sides of the issue advocating for their point of view. I would not say that it's a closed book either way. So if you do have any opinions or interests regarding that, I would encourage you guys to go to the meeting.
And they especially want to hear about not just the governance side. Everybody, the newspapers, they write about governance reform. That's sort of what everybody likes to dwell on. But I think what the Senate, the committee really want to hear about is, how do you want to see service improved? Like, we all know that transit in suburbs isn't ideal. They want to hear, what type of improvements do we think should be made to the service out here? So getting beyond governance, thinking about funding, thinking about service provision, those are the things I want to hear from all of you between now and the end of the month, that we can communicate to everybody.
And I think it's by no means a settled issue, which is why the Transportation Committee is holding so many meetings regarding it. And people in the industry, people in the advocacy space, and members of the public all have very, very opinions on this, some pros, some anti. So I think it's interesting and important that members of the public attend these meetings.
And Bianca mentioned, if you didn't go in person, you can actually watch or listen virtually. But the key is, if you go to the Illinois Senate Transportation Committee website, they don't start the video until the hearing starts. So you're going to see a blank screen. If you log in early, you're going to be like, what the heck is this? Just wait and refresh your browser. And then eventually, once they start the hearing, they'll start the video feed and you can watch it then.
Thank you. Next, we're at the PACE revision. I'm not sure, is that Karen Scott again?
That's me.
Okay.
All right, so PACE revision. So I know I've announced this at, I believe it was the last 2 committee hearings, but Jasmine asked me to come just give a quick update. I wanted to let you know I did give you a full 1-pager, both sides. Everyone should have the ability to grab this on the side table if you did not already. PACE's revision program is our network revitalization and restructuring initiative. This was launched under our Driving Innovation Strategic Plan that we adopted in 2021 with the goal of reimagining our service network. For the vast majority of our service network has been the same routes for going back about 40 years, if not before PACE was founded 40 years ago. So a lot of our services, our route locations have not changed in that timeline. And the suburbs that we live in have changed a lot. There has been a lot of growth and a lot of expansion in certain areas, and I know that there's some currently planned expansions in the area. So our revision plan, the revision goal is to rethink our transit network with the focus on accessibility, equity, and productivity. We wanted to focus on areas that could be reimagined, so potentially shifting routes off certain streets, moving to a different type of service model. We have a lot of different families of services. Over the 40 years, PACE has expanded our van pool program, our on-demand services. They used to be called call-in rides. We have our rapid bus transit service, our Pulse lines, that are in the northern suburbs and currently going to be expanding into the southwestern suburbs of Cook County. So we have a lot of different service options that we might be able to expand into new areas than we previously planned for. So through this 2-year-long study process, we will be analyzing current market conditions and geographic and demographic conditions in our service area. We will be developing and presenting future network alternatives. So that's kind of been the background work that's been going on. Our contractors have been meeting with local stakeholders. We've had 2 public engagement sessions with community leaders that we looked for, starting that conversation as to what's important. Are you looking for greater coverage? Do we want a bus route on more streets? Do we want more frequency? Do we want later services? These are all ideas and concepts that we're trying to generate an understanding for what the need is, so then when we come out with our projections of what we think we can provide, we're trying to meet that need. So our team right now is working on those network concepts. We generated feedback from lots of different stakeholders. We gave the counties a little sneak peek into what those concepts look like. And then we're going to be presenting them, I believe, to our PACE board. We'll get a preview at one of their committees later this month, if not the beginning of next month. And then they will be put out to the general public for feedback. So these network concepts are going to show routes in areas that don't have service today. They're going to show potential expansions, but they're also going to be contingent on funding. One of the major points of this program is to generate an understanding for what the costs of expansion could be, so we can use that in leverage to our federal and state legislators to be like, you want a route expansion in this area, that's going to cost X thousands of dollars. That's what our revision plan is going to be generating. So these network concepts that we're putting out will be based on current funding, with our current projection of growth over our funding structures right now. And then we'll be looking at 2 additional concepts, one with a 50% growth and a 50% increase in, one 50% increase in ridership and one 50% increase in coverage. Because those are the 2 kind of diametric options. Do we put a bus route that goes more frequently to maybe less areas because we have to reorganize our funding? Or do we put more buses into more areas that are maybe less frequent? So those will be the 3 different options that we will be presenting as concepts. These are not going to be immediately bus routes, so if everyone votes on one concept, it's not like it's going to be immediately input. What I will say is our planning team is in the back end planning for potential improvements following that first round. So there may be some initial improvements that we can make following this first round of public outreach, but then the full plan itself will be presented in the fall of 2025 for a final round of public input. So whatever this first concept kind of feedback comes back as, our team will be working to incorporate that into the final draft that will then again go out to public comment. I will say you may have seen some revision ads on Facebook. I know I've been seeing them all over the place. But the back of this one-pager really outlines your opportunity right now to give input. So we have a website, pacebus.com/revision. We have an email address, it's revision@pacebus.com. And you can provide us feedback today. If you think we need to have a different route through Woodstock, right now we work our way to the metro station and then work our way north. If you think there are community assets, community locations, maybe new growth that's coming that you know about, or that your clientele are, telling you about, or recognize that's where your clientele are going, let us know today, so then we could potentially start to incorporate that in these next network concepts. Otherwise, you can come to our public hearings that we're going to be holding in the fall. There will be opportunities for us. We'll be in the community as well, soliciting feedback from the general public. But we are always open to receiving that feedback on this revision plan, because we want to build the future network, the bus network of the future. In many ways, it might be a little different than the one we have today.
There's got to be questions for Ed about this. That was a lot.
It is a lot.
That was a good presentation. Are these local level engagement forums going to be online or are they going to be in person?
I've been told they should be available online, and then we'll have like pop-up events. So, I attend a lot of community resource fairs. Pretty soon we'll have those forums for me to bring out to those fairs so people can start to give feedback that way. And then when we're into the full scale of outreach, we may have designated locations and events that we host as a come see our presentation, our boards. We might be at a local library, we might be at a metro station. We're still fine tuning those final locations. So there will be a lot of opportunities as well as online.
Okay, if the county can help in any way with those, let us know. We're happy to help kind of set stuff up or
Appreciate it.
draw people to.
I know I've listed a couple places in McHenry that, I think would be important, but I'm always open to input as well. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks again. Is there any other items we need to cover? Or Nope. Well, thank you, everyone, for attending and all the information that was presented. Our next meeting is November 7th. There's also the meeting on August 28th that we sent out. Okay. Thank you again. A motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Second. Oh, I don't know if my vote counts. You'll both second.
I'll second.
Okay. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.